6 3/4. 6 3/4. Good. Does anybody know what today is? It's a fresh sheet of 20 gauge day for that. Welcome to Envision Prototypes. If you're new to our channel, I'm Nick, and today we're going to be working on the front end of this 1974 all-wheel drive Charger. Come on, take a look. Alright, let's see if I can keep this under 30 seconds. So as you can see, I've got the fender on the car, fitted to the grille. The grille is mounted to the donor's bumper, right there. There's a bracket there, one on the other side. I've got the bezel mocked up. This is the original bezel that came with the car when I bought it. It's got cracks in it, it's got missing sections, it's garbage. But what it's doing right now is helping me figure out the headlight placement. Down here, you get the original roll pan, front fascia pan, and again, as you can see, it doesn't fit very well. It's clamped to our fenders that we've made up, but the pan itself is way off. And if you're saying, well, let's just add some pieces maybe onto it, well, if you look a little closer, it looks like Swiss cheese. You can see all the daylight going through it. So what we're going to do is scrap it, but before we do, we're going to take and make a new one using this as a template. These turn signals are going to be deleted and replaced with round style because I don't have the lenses and the housings. They're pot metal and they were all broken up too. So this whole car was in really bad shape. Basically everything 1.5 feet from the ground was just gone. Once I've got the headlight placement figured out, we're looking at installing this grille. Now you might have seen it when we were working on the 56 Chrysler. I had a little preview of it. I wanted to use it on that car, but this just wasn't enough surface area to do what I wanted to do. It's going to work perfectly for this situation. To help with the front flow of this fascia, we're going to move a few things around too. We're going to narrow up this opening. We're going to deepen it but narrow it up a little bit to coincide with the headlight, this part here. So you can see this red line, it's going to line with that, come down and around, because right now, not sure why, but it kind of comes into about 1/4 of the headlight. No rhyme or reason, so we're going to give it a reason. Other than that, we're keeping that front grille more or less original. We're not modifying this part. It's everything else around it. Was that about a minute? Yeah, close enough. Now for the people that have been watching this build evolve, you may be thinking or asking in the comments, Nick, did you get the quarter panels done? Did you get whatever done? Well, we can't really do whatever back here until all this in the front is roughed in and I get that panel fabricated. Yeah, that gap is off right there because I've got a vice grip clamping the two together. It's in the mock-up stage. Don't freak out, please. When it comes to that quarter panel, I can't set and gap and weld that quarter panel in place until these door hinges are fixed. You saw in the door handle video, all the slop is about 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch of slopping in the door, that end. So that door has to come off, pull the hinges off, rebuild the hinges, and reinstall everything at the proper gap along the bottom because it gets tighter as it goes back. I can't get to the pins until we finish with the front fenders. We're close, but not there yet. I've got a clamp holding this section in place and a few clamps at the front here The bumper's mounted where it's going to be, so that's set. I've got the top roughed in. You saw us working on that. Hood hinges, I was working on those as well. And wiper clearance. Check that out. That's factory donor wiper arms. And they're going to work perfectly with the Charger windshield. So that's one great thing that worked out. But as you can see here, we've got a huge gap between the hinge, which is mounted in stock location, and the hood structure. I had to peel the skin off the structure because there was a lot of rust in between the two. So drilled out the spot welds, you saw that, and we have now gone ahead. Actually, you haven't seen it. Cue video. So we've got this structure separated, and here, check this out, really fresh, clean sheet metal, shiny from 1978. So we're not going to do anything with that. I'm not even going to paint it because that's original. Yeah, Project Gangrene has so much rust. I'm surprised that the whole thing wasn't rust like this structure here. You can see. So we're going to have to get that media blasted, get this media blasted. You can see all the primer that somebody tried to pour in there. It leaked down, and back here, you can see all the Bondo that kind of squeezed through the holes from the outside. You know, it helps hold the Bondo when you can have some holes to push it through. Fantastic. Not really. So that there is a result of this thing here, which I'm not going to touch until I get my hazmat suit on, full respirator, shield, the whole deal. And then we'll just take care of this outside and let them scamper away if they're inside. There's a little bit of a hole there, so there might be something in there. There we are, trunk skin separated. Now I have to do the same thing on the hood here. Take and grind out all these little spot welds around the perimeter. Peel back the flanges. Not sure what's going to happen at the front yet. Yeah, we do. Maybe not. If we can separate it and just slide it out the back, be good. This caulking, if it's separated, beautiful. If not, we have to separate that as well. Kind of slide it in, putty knife in there and open that up. You might be saying, well, why don't you just take and cut this down the length as it is, bring it together, re-weld it? Well, you're never going to get a great factory looking finish. You're going to have issues with the skin. You're not going to be able to weld it properly because how do you get in behind there to metal finish it? So structure has to come off the skin. We get the structure section first, fitted, and then we'll get the skin fitted to that. That's how it's done. So here we go. Well, you know what? I'm going to save you a couple hours of viewing time. Separate this, get it on the verge of coming apart, then I'll bring you guys in and we can separate it together. This one was a little more challenging than the trunk, where we just unhemmed the edges. Here it was, well, the challenge was in finding all the spot welds. Went through with a small bit after locating them with a marker, marked them, drilled through, and then use a larger bit coming from the inside, in some cases from the outside. So the key was to drill out the spot weld without removing too much material from either side of the skin or the structure. I'm going to take this thing, haul it out, get rid of that nest. Yeah. Look how floppy that thing is. It's amazing what the structure does. Fun times, eh? So peeled the structure, or the skin off the structure, and got it blasted, and now we can move ahead and mount that. This hood is a little bit shorter than original. I got tired of walking around this extension here. So that's the front section of the hood structure, and you can see the overlap and how much, I think it's going to come back a bit. It's been sliding down as I've been, working on the car. So it's going to be somewhere around there. It has to be established yet. But as getting back to the rear quarter panels, I can't fit any of that stuff back there until this part down here is finished. Once we rough that in, then I can clamp the fenders, trim off the fronts, get that done. And to mount the fenders, if you look at an original fender, see that structural piece right there? I've built two of those, one right, one left. And oh yeah, that's the hood. See all the rust in between the areas where they couldn't blast the first time around? So we're going to send that out shortly for the remainder. These parts here have to be mounted in behind. With the skins in the way, it makes it very difficult. And with the doors set sagging, I can't set the gap properly for the structure. You set the structure, you bring the skin in, you scribe it to the proper gap on the door, then you hem it onto the structure. So it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? When it comes to structural stuff, I usually do it first, but that doesn't really make for great YouTube content. People want to see this kind of stuff, instant gratification, see a fender being shaped up, thrown on the car, see the overall shape of the car coming out in 2 or 3 episodes. Well, this build has taken quite a while because of all the other stuff that needs to be done behind the scenes, stuff that nobody really cares about. If you want to see more work on building structural panels, structural supports for panels, check out the 51 Ford that we built earlier, or that 44 chop top coupe there behind the A-pillar that we built over a Mustang donor platform. We're not going to really get into the structural stuff today. I need to focus on this front fascia. And with this fresh sheet of steel here, we can get to work. We need a piece 69 inches long. We also need to make up some housings for the headlights. I'll show you. So by the end of today, or end of this video at least, I need to make up these platforms or these sections in here that the adjustable brackets are going to mount to, and we have to set the distance as to where they're going to sit, and then we can come up with these additional flanges for the front fenders to tie into the structure. And for those who are wondering why I didn't cut these fenders up, they're fiberglass. That's steel. I work with steel. I'm not very good with fiberglass. We make ceiling liner, stuff like that, but when it comes to making big parts like that, I can do it out of steel much easier. Let's cut this blank out, get some shape into it. Need to roll the ends up a little bit. Very good. Those aside for later. Put this sheet away. Now this is a nice factory edge. This one's got a bit of wobble to it. The shear is getting a little bit dull. So I'm going to put that at the bottom. Put this at the top. Yeah, this is a prime example of why you try to avoid corners when forming things in sheet metal. It's a 90-degree cut corner. It's actually cracked. because of age and whatever. If you put a radius there, you have no trouble at all. No cracking. What they've done here is created a runoff, an allowance for a runoff for any water that might get into the front fascia area. They do have holes here, which is what I think we're going to do. We'll put 3 holes there and there. And it'll just have to be round holes, it doesn't have to be this oval. So that'll simplify things. You can see remnants of the original braces that kept the shape of the fascia. So we're going to have to replicate that because it is quite an expanse. You don't think it'll move, but you don't want it to move. You want it to maintain a proper shape. I'm guessing they had fasteners there, yes, to hold this in place because of that missing section. But we're going to run that right through, roll it up, roll it down, roll it up, roll it down. Roll it down, you have a sharp edge. So you crawl underneath the car to do some oil change or whatever, it can nail you. Rolling it up, 6 a half dozen to the other. I think we'll roll it up. Make it original, yeah. So hole, 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 roll the flange up, done. All right. That's that, that's that, that's that. Da, 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 da. Good, not worried about the holes. I think we can throw this out now, but not yet. We're going to keep it within arm's reach so that if we need to check something, we can do that. Because we've essentially redesigned, reshaped this whole front end and the fascia, the original lower pan I think came in on a sharper angle. Ours is going to be a tad more vertical. That's going to affect the way this rolls around the top here. If we laid it down flat, the ends would connect, you'd have a gap in the middle. You stand it up more, center gets tighter, ends are more sitting in the wrong spot. We need to tailor fit this fascia, forget about this one now, tailor fit this one, the flange, the curvature of this top, not this as much as this, to fit with the underside ends of this grille surround. This line here is very dependent on the angle that you set this fascia pan at. If you angle it down, it'll look like the lip, the bottom lip is sagging. Push it up, it look like bubbles, you know, lip up. And we kind of wanted to not be straight, but just down a little bit. Make it straight, it's going to clash with the other lines on the car, especially that grille surround, because that has a slight curve downward. So a straight curve, no bueno. A slight down, yes. Slight up, definitely not. It's a lot of work in just laying stuff out. Okay, I've added a little bit of material here. We need to take and bring these lines up, extend them up from our bend line. But as you can see, if we're touching there, and we've actually got a space between the straight edge and the red Sharpie. And that is to account for the curvature outward in the panel. We don't have just a straight line going across the front of the car. It rolls out. Now I have to make an appointment with my optometrist to get my achrometers calibrated. Until then, we're going to use some masking tape to indicate the bend lines. Make sure it's stuck down. These sheets are a little bit oily. I guess I should have wiped it off before doing this. If I wipe it off now, I'm going to lose all my lines. And we're going to add a second 3/4 inch piece of tape to give us the cut line. Kind of like that. The ends. And there we have the piece for the fascia. Now, the fun begins, because we not only have to curve it this way, but we also have to curve it up towards the front, towards that grill. And for those that are just joining us and trying to learn about wheeling, it's called a compound curve. And we're going to use that machine over there, the English wheel, to roll it. But I need to give it some shape because it's really floppy right now, and you can't really do much with that. I think the first order of business is going to be to roll the main curve. Since all my lines are up here, I'm going to be rolling that in, rolling that up. This one here is the old line. Same with that one, those are garbage. I'm not going to wipe them off because there's no point. We'll do it later on. Yeah, let's break this panel. I could put the rubber wheel in it, but I think I'm going to have a tough time because it, again, it's really floppy. Yeah. All right, how's that? See, now I can pick it up. What we're going to do is take this panel, put it into the English wheel with a rubber upper wheel and a lower steel anvil. And we're going to flip this over and roll it through. And all that's going to do is give us curvature. It's like bending a pipe. You're not creating any compound, you're not stretching material, you're not pushing material anywhere, you're just bending. And whatever you bend, you can usually unbend it without any adverse effects. As soon as you start stretching material and pushing it around, that's where things get a little bit tricky if you go too far. Right now, I want to give it some curvature, put it up underneath the car, and see how it looks. The ends have to come up because they have to meet up with this. Now, on the original Charger, their seam was up here somewhere, and it was visible when you looked at the side of the car. I want to put my seam down below so that when you're looking at the fender, you don't see this joint right there. And that's going to help us in minimizing how much we need to curve up. That one has a lot of curve, the original one. Here, we might be able to get away with a minimal amount. That's the plan. The other thing I could do to help stiffen this up is put this through the tipping wheel and break this edge. I think I might do that because I might have a hard time in holding it. This is 6 feet long. This is almost as tall as me. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's see how this goes. Yeah, enough room that way. Not quite. Yeah, we can do it. A little snug in here. So, as I was saying, we need more curvature at the front than at the back. The back is relatively flat. So we're just gonna pass it through. I think that's far enough. You'll see after this that we won't be able to bend the ends up too well. We'll use the wheel to help us out. We'll see. That's okay. Just ran into a bit of a roadblock there. I'm doing is bending. I can always unbend it. It just gives me more uniform bend than on the bench. I think that's going to be it. Let's see how that looks. Give our arms a break. Yeah. Wouldn't you know it? It's close. It's very close. I like that. We gotta be over here. So let me get some center lines going. We need to shrink this to give it some curve outward. And we might even give this, start wheeling this with the English wheel, with the hard anvils. Turn around so I don't have my back to you. So we'll English wheel this up now that it has some shape. It's pretty rigid and won't develop any kinks by it flopping down at the ends, or the ends pulling it down, flopping and creating a kink in the middle. Another way of saying it. Ends. I think I should trim away a lot of that excess material that's hanging down. It's not necessary, it's going to be in our way. That means taking the fenders off, cutting off the material, throwing the brake, gives our arms a chance to recuperate a bit, put in the brake, bend both ends. That will actually have flanges to work to. We can have these pieces shoot by, scribe the ends. You'll see. When I unclamp this clamp here, this grill will return back to its original vertical level. See that? So we have a nice consistent gap now between the body panel and the grill. We don't have grill surround. We don't have that big 1 inch with the rubber spacer and all that stuff to deal with. Gives it a more trim, tailored look. Okay. The old clamping marks we had earlier, that somebody made a comment I was damaging the panel. I was. It's going to be cut away and you'll never see it again. So we're going to roll it up at this point here. The other thing I also have to do is where that Sharpie is, I have to take and bring that down because this line went down and then stuck out. We want this line to taper back, look proper, instead of some bulge sticking out right here. Trick is going to be getting the other side. Maybe you don't need it. Let's bend. That's all we can do. I'm up against the handle. But it gives us a start. Now we can roll it over with the hammer and dolly if we need to the rest of the way. Just want to double check a few bends before we go any further. Yeah. Okay. So we need to bring the ends up on the ends. Everything else seems to be falling into place, and before I start wheeling this out to give it that curve, because we've only just bent it, we haven't curved it. Well, it depends how you define curve, but we haven't created the compound curve, stretching the metal, pushing the ends out and front forward. There we go. Have to make sure the ends are going to roll up where they need to. I did put the steel anvil in. We're going to have to switch that back out. I was going to wheel this. I could wheel this. Let's wheel this a little bit just to... Now, unfortunately, it won't fit into my wheel across. My throat on the wheel is too shallow, so we do have to wheel it lengthways. That's okay. Let me get a center line. You don't want to wheel this off to one side. '71. Double check. Good to go. Really going to have some fun now. See, even with the ends turned up, it's a little bit floppy yet. You got to be careful. Ooh, there's something on my anvil. Lump, 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 not good. That's strange. Develop the center more than the ends. We want more curvature in the middle than the ends. So that's where I started. And you can see we're starting to buckle here. That's okay. I think we're gonna leave it at that. A couple tracking marks. Oop. Put the brakes on. I'll have to wash it out after. Can I wheel it? Oh, there we go. So what's going to happen, what I'll have to do is shrink this back edge just a little bit. But we're getting a lot of oil coming out, wow. We're getting a nice curve, so that's good. Let's have a look, see how it fits up, and then we'll do the ends. Zoom in on here, you can see exactly where I wheeled. Very good, we have more curvature. We will probably have to cut away a lot of that stuff at the back. We'll see once the subframe goes on. Right now what I'm concerned about is getting the front to fit up. The back can run wild. Woo. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm hitting the studs for that cradle right now. Right there. So that's no problem. That's a nice angle. Oh yeah, it's coming up nice. Real nice. All right, let's roll the ends up. That's where things are gonna get tricky because now we're rolling, if I put this down, I'll get all dirty. We're rolling against this curvature here. So by rolling that, it's gonna kink there. There's not enough surface area, material if you will. So we'll have to stretch this out, bring that out. Both sides. Lunch break. This one, I want a sharper lower anvil because we have to bring that up quite substantially. Let's go here. Not my sharpest one. It should do the job. Just transpose the lines onto the outside. This is going to get interesting. See, we're fighting that curve. I'm just doing this for illustrative purposes because you can see it's messed things up. Not pretty at all. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to start off by showing you what we're going to do, and then I'm just going to do. No chit chat. Essentially, we have to stretch a lot of material. Done. There we go. Quite a bit of pressure going on. I need to bring that corner up and out. Okay, so from this tracked up, wheeled up, seemingly ugly corner, because I use a very high crown panel or anvil to move the panel quickly, I've switched over to almost a flat anvil and just cleaned it up. If I can get the reflections, you can see we've got nice compound curve. That feels really good right there. I think we should try this on the car. It's not going to fit exactly just yet because there's stuff going on yet. It has to be blended into there, blended into here. I just took this corner and brought it out by stretching it, smushing it, stretching the skin, pushing it out, all that fun stuff. We'll get these details for the flanges in once all this is roughly where it needs to be. I could have made this out of 3 pieces, corner, middle, end, but I always like the challenge of, the challenge of making it out of 1 piece. I'm hitting the studs, and this panel should be even with the back edge of the fender. And it's not. So I need to move back quite a bit. What we can do, center line, right here, right here. I'll measure to that side from center, slice it so we can slide this whole thing back a little bit more. This needs to sit up like that underneath, but I can't slide it back anymore. So trim. The shape is getting there. See that corner? That baby's gonna sit right in there like that and blend in. I left this corner. I can do whatever I need to do to address that later on. Not a problem. Main concern is to shape up this thing here. If we start rolling this up, just trying to get it fitting up tighter, it's going to lock the panel in. That's why I'm leaving this until the very end when we can creep up with the panel, scribe it, and then install it. We also have these plates for the bumpers, so we have to accommodate that. I think they have to be trimmed back a little bit because it's sticking out past this part, and this will go in on top. So fascia, bumper, you assemble it from the bottom up. This is going to be removable. Has to be because your fenders are removable. I gave this to the blaster. He put a nice profile on it for us, and we're going to paint them body color. They're going to work together with the body panels to give it that extra little bit of length as a unit. Without the bumpers, yeah, it's going to look short. You put these pieces on, and it's going to extend it just the right amount. Let's go back to wheeling. Now, my main area of focus, I'm going to hit you guys in a second. Put you over here. You guys can see. My main area of focus is that corner. We're going to bring that corner up and then blend. Bring the corner up and blend. You don't want to create a pimple. Oh yeah. Smoothing and rising. Looking good. Now we blend. We do this numerous times. If you want to see me wheel up an entire body from scratch, from flat sheet metal, check out the 1940 Ford Coupe. I think there was 44 panels on that car that we wheeled. Got a little kink in the middle, no problem. I might actually put this in the rubber wheel and give it that curve through here because I'm losing a bit of it from wheeling. Blendy, blendy, blendy. Kind of a triangle shape that I'm wheeling, but it'll change as per the panel that you're making. So I don't want to say do this particular pattern for this because depending on what you're wheeling, it's going to change. I know I have to bring that corner up. How I do that or how you do that, it's going to vary. All right. Wheels in motion. I'm just blending. And it's looking really nice. See that? Yeah, I got a couple tracking marks, no big deal. We will clean that up. Oh yeah, we got to trim the back edge too. I forgot. Okay, that's it. Give the hands a break. Noticing that it looks like this panel is turning into a bit of a pretzel. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It's a good thing. As soon as I put it on the bench and show you what I do, you'll understand what's happening. Okay. Now we're going to straighten things out and the shape should restore itself. The initial shape we started with. I'm not looking to bring these tails up too high, just a little bit there. I haven't cut that away yet, I've marked it out. All right, that's looking good. A lot of this is going to be trimmed away, so I'm not too worried about that. And by trimming the ends away, it'll kind of relieve things in the panel because right now it's holding this wheeled up area. It's kind of holding it back from doing what we need it to do, if that makes any sense. You know, if you take a piece of square steel, a 1-inch band around the perimeter and just wheel within that 1 inch, that center area, that perimeter 1-inch band is what's trapping the material that you're wheeling, allowing the panel to rise up. That's what we're doing here. We're trapping the material within the outer perimeters. This is exciting, like to see a piece take shape with these two things and that. It helps a lot. It's really cool. Okay, cleanup time. Just want to address any tracking marks that were developed earlier. I still have a pretty flat anvil in. I gotta spin myself around here, pardon me. Good. It's like a whole dance you do. Just trying to blend out anything. And I think that's pretty close to what we need, I think. I don't know yet. Until we stick it up there, then we won't know. This side's done, that side's done. Let's try it. Okay, let's see how this looks. I think you guys can see. So, on those points over there, what I might do is undo the vice grips in here, just temporarily. Hope it doesn't fall down. Good. That's better. Now I can actually sneak it in there. Like that. And there we have it. It's going to come ahead a bit. That's got to roll up a bit. As you can see, it's looking good. Something's happened though as we've been wheeling this. Remember this opening here? I had it on a taper based on this line here and this red line here. That's a jacking point, but it's symmetric from side to side, so that's what I'm going by. By wheeling this down, this is actually closed in, so we have to open that back up. Both sides. For this video, end of the video, I'm trying to get this at least tacked in place or clamped in place to the fenders and get the headlights orientated in that spot. And then in another video later on, we'll work on the grill because that's going to take pretty much all the time we have. Let's get this original and see how close we're getting. Like a glove. Almost, not really, but close. But not really. Oh yeah, we can work with that. It didn't change very much. That's the whole thing. That's nice. Okay. If we're looking at this flange, I'm allowing about 3/4 of an inch. It tapers off a little bit there. This is something I have to adjust based on the bumper. They only allowed 3/8 of an inch, maybe, and that I guess sat up against the seal. Here you had a bit more because it's a longer span, and this bolted to the fender. So I'm going to allow, like I said, 3/4. Roll that in. I need to take that corner out, and we can roll up the bottom to create this reveal here. Pardon my arm. There. So we'll just bring those in together. Look at the other side, and I think we'll start hammering that up. These two corners, the radius, as well as this, is a bit soft. Well, we'll probably keep it soft. You don't want a knife edge here. You want something like, kind of like that. Not this. These will be tightened up once we're confident that everything else fits on the car. These surfaces are coming in quite well, so only one way to find out if it really works is to get it on the car. And made it up to the bumper, check it out. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, guys, quick question. This panel is fitting up not too bad. What did we do? I'm gonna give you a hint. It's not this. What did we do? I got something in my finger for the third time. What did we do that has now caused this thing to turn into a banana? What did we do in here? In here, I'm giving you a hint. In here. By rolling this up and not stretching it enough, it has now pulled the whole panel on both sides upward. Where are you? Ah, there you are. Holy moly, right through the rubber. Surprisingly painful. You can hardly see it. There we go. Tasty. You don't want to swallow shavings. It can be hazardous to your health. We are in a dilemma now. I think I'm going to have to stretch. I can't get this in the wheel, it's too tight. I'm going to hammer this out. That one, we can cut it, but you don't want to cut it. I don't want to cut it because then it'll spread. I'm going to plenish this, plenish that side, kind of work those radiuses in. I said might have to take them out, but I can't even fit this to the car the way it is. So give me a second, hammer that out, be right back. So there we have the lower front fascia. And as you can see, things are still not coming together. But that's okay, because we're getting closer. It's a progression. Need to take and trim up a little bit of material in here. We'll deal with the fender in a minute. It's following the front curvature of this bumper grille surround quite nicely. Need to do a little bit of stretching in here. Likewise on the other side, right over here. That'll go in, that'll come out, that'll go in. It'll be good. This has to be stretched a little bit, shrunk a little bit to bring it out. And then we can roll that final flange downward. The way I like to approach something like this is, well, as you saw, hey, look at that go. Get the initial shape established, get it fitting onto the car somewhat. It has to come up at the bottom there. It can't because it'll fall off if we force it on because of these corners. Get it sitting there, find a way to get it clamped. Here we got lucky because we have plates that mount to the bumper. That has to be finished yet, it's not done yet, but we just slid it in there, bam, held it in place. Now we can focus on fine tuning, one area at a time. This radius here, I'm not happy with it yet. It will get adjusted. Once we have the panel up in place, with these corners trimmed up and refined, clamp it, then we'll work the ends in. And then once I'm happy with all that, we'll finish this. It's just a matter of working away at something until you get it. You're not going to solve it or fix it or whatever the first time. It takes time. So let me make those adjustments, trim up, we'll get this slid back into place, and keep going. Test fit 281. It feels that way. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't pop out. Aha, we're in. Off to one side a little bit. Getting closer, lining up These jacking points, for those people that have never driven these old cars, had experience with old cars, you used to have an attachment on your jack that used to be in the trunk. You used to clip into here. You used to be able to pick up your entire car, at least the front of it, to change your tire or whatever, by your bumper. Go figure. Nowadays, give that a try, see how far you get. Looking good. Okay, nice, smooth, good. That's where it went to. It was up there, I was looking for that. Ah, we're up against the bolts, so I can't drive it anymore, otherwise I will damage it. Let's put it back. Ooh, there's more stuff up there. The next part is going to be the tricky part, because we need to pull all this in, get all the angles right. I think what we're going to do is clamp the bumper to the fender. Just disregard the tightness here. That's not going to be an issue. What's holding us up is that point right there. What we got to do is rely on this surface here as being the continuation of that front fascia. This is in our way. I think what I'm going to temporarily do is put a little cut in the flange right there. I'm not going to bother shrinking it, just cut it and tuck that in. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't want the seam to be here. I want it to be up underneath where you won't see it when you're standing up above. So I'm going to unclamp this, cut that, re-clamp it, tuck it, and hopefully get that fascia up 4 inches. It's looking good. It's just a lot of back and forth again. Literally rolling back and forth. Okay. This is rolling in really nice on the corner here, flowing in. That corner there, not so much. And this here, it's got to go up. Seems to fit a little better every time. That makes me happy. I'm going to make some more changes. There's a flange on the back side here. I'm going to roll it down ever so slight, grind that back a bit more just on the bottom, and we're going to refit this, I think, for the final time, because everything else is looking good. Then I've got a surprise for you guys. Okay, that's looking good. That corner is a little better than that one. I'm going to put a few tacks on this because it keeps sliding around. Just tiny tacks, there and there. Then we'll take that lower area, roll it up, and then we can dial some more things in. I'll take and cut off the excess material, add a little bit for a flange, roll it up so we can actually clamp the flange and not the surfaces. Well, there we have it. This is falling into place really well here. Either I trim back on that bracket, or what I'm thinking of doing is just creating a piece in here, just a filler piece that'll get bolted to this grill surround, and you're going to cover that up, finish that off. I have one more thing I'll be doing. We can do it now, we can show you now, or after we get the headlights located. I think we need to locate the headlights, and I'm going to show you a little something that we're going to be adding to this front fascia. It's only about 1 inch deeper than the factory grill opening. We get a license plate in here. It's going to look sharp. We'll have this license plate located just like that with grill pieces in there on either side. It's almost 3 inches we're going to cut off, minus the flange. Okay, got 4 screws in, 2 per side, and now we can let go of a lot of these clamps. So we have a fairly nice fit here. This bolt is getting loose. I need to get a wrench on it, bring it down. That's opened up, but at the end of the day, that's really the space that I want. And before I do any other hammering or any other fine tuning of these panels, I need to undo this vice grip down here and get this space to be consistent all the way down to the bottom. Look at that reflection. It almost carries through. Perfect. Here, that's a corner, not so perfect, as well as these flanges. Now this is a soft roll. I do a soft roll as the initial bend so that if I need to undo it, I can roll it out and there'll be hardly any sign of a bend. If I creased it really sharp, good luck. You'll always have a little sharp crease that you'll have to grind out to eliminate. And the other thing is we've got a little dish happening here. And I'm not sure if I like that or not. If you go back onto the door, it also has a very slight dish in the line right there. That has to be carried on into here. So little things. We just took this elephant and got it down to something that, you know, we can work on a little at a time now and fine tune. So both sides are equal in radius. See that? And check out those reflections. Nice. Except here. That's not nice. It was this panel here that I cut off a little bit too much. I anticipated it swinging in a little more. And that's the other thing. I have to make sure that the fenders at the bottom are where they need to be. They might need to move in, might need to move out a little bit. We'll see. And if it moves in, that'll correct that. I don't think so though. So I'll need to flatten that out, put a little wedge in there, roll it in, blend it to that. Vice grip from the other side, because I clamped it, showed up through my surface, so it looks hideous, but I'll blemish that out. Yeah, there's that radius. And that crease, we have to continue from over there up into here. So little things. This area is coming in quite well. Looking good. And from the side profile, and compare it to a factory shaped front fascia, it's pretty darn close. Except their flange is way the heck up here. This is the original fender. See the taillight, the reference. It's actually right at the bottom of the bumper and extends rearward along that crease that I was talking about. So that's a crease we have to replicate. I'll measure that before this gets sent outside. Let's get on to fabricating a panel that's going to support these. Okay, the size of bracket we need is 19 by 9. Now I could go ahead and create a hammer form this size, roll up a 1-inch flange, and then go ahead and make another 4-inch band that'll wrap around that. That's a lot of work. What I'm going to do instead is start with a larger rectangle, take out some squares in the corners, bend these legs up, weld the corners. Finished. One thing I do want to do is I'm going to add a little bit extra material as a flange to weld to. Instead of welding a corner, it's a lot easier to weld a flat surface and blend it in so that you don't see the weld. Sometimes on a corner you end up grinding through your weld that you have, and well, it just doesn't work. Okay, I just need 4 of those. Let's cut this out. That, and that, gone. Headlight boxes bent. Almost. I almost forgot you guys. Come on. Now, I need to roll that up, and I need to maintain pretty tight bend. Put a piece of flat bar in here. Oh no, it's too long. That 2x4 is good, but I need a piece of steel. Okay, piece of steel. And back that off. Need to account for spring back. Perfect. So we need to do this 3 more times. And I'll take the corners, I'll pinch them, put a small tack on them, and we can install this. Mock it up. Just think, almost 2 feet, times 2, 4, times another foot and foot, 6 feet of welding. Or you can do this. You can pin these corners, tack them for now, and mock it up. All right, gang. We can now throw this fascia out. But before we do, let's take a look and see how it compares to what we built. So there we go. Corners are a bit interfering a bit, but you get the idea. And we dropped down a little bit there, 1.5 inches-ish. And goodbye. We'll have to work on this later, make some modifications at the back. Those wipers turned out fantastic. You can put this over there, support there. Okay, there's a tab there, I'm gonna bend that down. It might break off, don't know yet. I might be able to use that to tack these boxes onto. just temporarily, not a permanent thing. This has to be attached to the fender, not the grill. Will that vice grip be in the way? Nope. Perfect. Right there. If I can put a little tack on there, that's basically, oh, no good. We got to come up a little bit. Yes. You don't want to see past the top of the hole. So there's an old mounting tab at the top. I just took a reconfigure, kind of created a Z pattern, Z shape, just to elevate. Perfect. Oh, there we are. So I can put one little tack to the fender structure and one tack up here. And that's going to sit with a bit of a space here, I think. We might have to do some reconfiguring on this edge. Instead of having a raw edge out, we'll cut and reform it. But for now, tack it. I want to locate the headlights. All right. I can hardly see in there, but I think we got it. Perfectamundo. Let's get the other one in. Let go of that vice grip. Let's see if this pops out. It's holding, but I'm afraid it could pop out. Everything comes crashing down. I'm kind of tempted to put a few tacks, hold it all together, but as soon as we get these lights established and do the last thing on the fascia, we're blowing the whole front end apart, and we're going to go back to the doors and start that. Get those doors done. Let's check this out. So we've got the box nailed there at the top and on the corner. 3 points of contact, more than enough to now go ahead and locate our headlights, headlight adjustment brackets. Very similar to what they have here. Check that out. Now, they don't have a box, but they have a kind of a sleeve setback there. And that's what we're going to be basically creating from the flange back into this mounting surface. And then I was talking about this face, taking it and modifying here and rolling it back over itself to a degree so it starts funneling air into the rad area. Okay, we're going to plant one right there. I just have to make sure they're both spaced exactly in the right location. There's a hole there. Huh. You sneaky guys. I need to strip off the adjustment plate so I can get the screws into the backer. I'm basing my spacing off this opening and not what I'm seeing at the back. The one at the back is kind of throwing the eyes. And that's too high. That's too low. Right there. Okay, let's see if we can get the brackets installed without, ouch, funny bone, without disassembling each and all the brackets. I'm not going to put the headlights in, just want to ta-da! Headlights installed. Now, since I don't have the original rectangular turn signals, pick these up. They're fog lights, driving lights with an indicator, amber indicator. Car had fog lights, we're going to use that option to power these up. Now, when it comes to locating these, I was thinking to put them here. I don't have enough depth to bury them into that. I have that beam in the way. So these are pretty deep. So I have just enough space in this area. You push it out here, it's getting into a very narrow fascia area. It's not gonna look good. Put it right here, French it in, bury it just behind, sleeve it, and it's gonna look quite nice right there. And it's in line with the center headlights. That's what I was aiming for earlier. We've got a piece of masking tape. We're not going to be cutting the hole today. I just want to kind of lay it out and have a look at it. Stand back, take a look at it. Make sure that we are on the right track. So this happens to be just about the same size as the light, so we don't have to mess around and potentially drop that thing. I need to drop down a center line from the headlight, which is right there. Plumb bum down. I need, where'd it go? Laser level, where are you? I was using it at the back of the car. I was doing some layout work back there. We're going to line it up right dead center. Look at my line. Look at that. Right on the screw. Oops, shaking right there. Okay, perfect. I need a straight edge. That's somewhat flexible. Drop the line down. Now that laser level has to be directly in line. It can't be over there, over there. It has to be directly in line with whatever face you're working on. Otherwise, it's not going to work out too well. Touch this up a little bit on this side. I think I got all the way around. There we go. All right, guys, well, that's a wrap. Got the front of this all-wheel drive Charger just about there. Everything important is roughed in, and now it's all about the details. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a thumbs up. It helps us out a lot. Any comments you might have, throw them down below. I read everybody's comments. And if you're new to our channel and you hadn't subscribed yet, please do. It helps our channel grow, and you'll get updates on all these projects we have going on. This one, the all-wheel drive Charger, the 56 Chrysler, as well as some new stuff coming in this summer. Yeah, so stay tuned. Until next time, take care.